What's up, y'all? Sparty here. I want to do a video pre-Switch review and just do a versus video between the PlayStation Vita and the Nintendo Switch. Now, it's kind of insane how massive the Switch is compared to the Vita, but nonetheless, I just want to do this video. Okay, so for a quick... If you want just a quick definitive answer between which is better and which has more games and stuff like that, the Switch overall is a better deal because you get a console and a portable at the same time. But the Vita has the PS1 library, not in its entirety. Key games from the PS2 library, say your God of War 1 and 2, your Sly Cooper collection, your Jack collection. Quality may vary with the with the Jack collection. What else? And the most recent Sly Cooper games, Sly Cooper Thieves in Time, stuff like that. And you have the majority of the PSP library that was able to be brought over digitally. Say games like your Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII, you can't get that simply because of Square Enix won't ever release it digitally. And you get the vast array of games that are just for the Vita. Or Vita, PS3, PS4 games. And I'll talk about that in a minute and why that is a great deal when it comes to the Vita. With the Switch, you get a very nice, high-quality portable. I will say that. You do get vents that do keep it from getting ultra hot, but I never had my Vita get fucking hot as shit, so that's nothing that I had to worry about for the Vita ever. In my time having it, and I've had it for maybe like 3-4 years now, maybe. With the Switch, there's less games right now, but that's because it's only been around for a little over a year. So just keep that in mind. What else? No, it's been 2 years pretty much, actually. I want to talk about stuff when it comes to like standards and stuff like that. People that, what ports and what kind of storage medium that each of these use. This uses micro USB, which at the time in which the Vita was a thing, when this specific model of the Vita was made, micro USB was the hot shit. So I don't really have any issues with it having micro USB because at the time that's what was around. Now the real thing is with the Switch, it has USB Type-C. Now if you've had a Nintendo portable, they're quite notorious for having their proprietary bullshit, oh, you know what we're going to do? We're going to have this weird connector to charge so that we can charge up the wazoo for it, right? Not anymore. You get USB Type-C, and I'm glad Nintendo did that. Now, what I wish for the Vita is that they would make a third model and add that, as well as micro SD card support, but that's never going to happen. This uses a proprietary PsVita medium that's its own memory card. It doesn't use like the PSP or their camera's memory sticks or anything like that. They use this super expensive medium that pretty much killed the Vita overall. And that is something that makes the Vita something that I want to recommend, but if you're willing to spend $90 for 64 gigabytes of fucking external, extra storage, that's on you. The Switch uses micro SD cards. Now, they've always been good with, at least since the DSi, with using SD cards, like big SD cards, but now they use micro SD cards. And what you do to get into there is you just open the kickstand, if it'll open. And it's right there. I think it goes up to 2 terabytes, which is very nice. Now I'll talk about the user interface. On the Switch, the user interface, this is your home screen. You get what's featured, like say if there's new releases or anything like that, those will show up on here. You press on one of these and it'll bring you to that and stuff like that. If you have a game running, say I have Bayonetta 2 running right now, you can press A 3 times or whichever button 3 times and you'll go into it. Or you can press the home button and just go straight home. Now, one thing that I criticize the Switch for right now is that I don't like its user interface over the Vita. The Vita's user interface, now both of these are touchscreen. I prefer it overall because it's just easier to like navigate and stuff like that. It's easier to have everything on just one screen if you want it on one screen. Do I even have it? Yeah, I do have everything on one screen. Whereas on the Switch, you have to scroll over and find what you want. Now, I don't know if I buy and download an extra game, if it'll add a second row or not yet. So just keep that in mind. But that's what I'm dealing with right now. And the Vita has a browser while the Switch doesn't. What I will say that I prefer about the Vita is that the Switch has a brighter display, a much brighter display at times. And it's a higher quality display, but that's really no issue for the Vita since every Vita game looks great on the Vita display. Same with this. Bayonetta 1 and 2 look fucking great on the Switch. And I have some demos here. I have some games and stuff. One thing you won't get on the Vita anymore is like high quality console ports or just console ports in general. Like say for the Switch you get this game, Doom. You get Doom on the Switch. Now it's not as high quality as it is on say your PC or your PS4 Pro, Xbox One X. It's not as high quality as it is there, but for a portable Doom, as someone that played a shit ton of Doom 2016, I enjoy this enough to play it. And online is good enough to play it too. Now, what else? Like I said, I prefer the user interface of the Vita more. Because also you can make folders. That's what these bubbles are. They're just folders. So I go into here, I get my indie section. I go into here, I get my, adventure games. Here I get my fighting games, stuff like that. You can't do that on the Switch quite yet, but I wouldn't doubt if they actually implemented that. I would actually like that a lot. That way I don't have to search, be like, where's this game that I just downloaded? Which typically when you just download a game, they put it right at the top, so it's not even that big of a deal. But, yeah. As far as that goes, it's it when it comes to the user interface. Now what I'm going to talk about is battery life, which is the real thing when it comes to these portable consoles here. The Vita, I would say the Vita has worse battery life. It depends on the game that you play on the Switch. The Switch can get at least 2 hours, 2.5 hours of gameplay out of it. I've been playing Bayonetta 1 and 2. I just beat 1. I played 2. I've been playing 2 now. They're draining about 2 hours. And that's fine. For a game that's as heavy as, this, I would understand why it would be that way. But I think you get the same amount of, playtime on the Vita as well. I'm not entirely sure because I haven't played a game for 2 straight hours. I think, yeah, when I played my Vita, say Borderlands 2, it got pretty much the same amount of time. And that's a heavy game on the Vita too. But the one thing the Vita trumps the Switch in is standby time. The Vita is still king when it comes to just sitting there and not doing shit. And they both can have a Wi-Fi connection and download stuff in the background. The Vita's way better at doing that. The Switch tends to drop connections sometimes for some reason. I don't understand it, but it does it. It doesn't do it all the time, but it does it. It wouldn't be right for me not to point that out. So that's what I'm doing. And overall portability, since obviously the Vita is smaller, it's easier to take around. But what you can do with the Switch is that you can get something like, with both of these, you can get some sort of case to holster your games and holster the Switch itself. But what you could also do, say if you have a big enough pocket, you could just take the Joy-Cons off and just stick this in your pocket and you'll be good to go. And when it comes to like pretty much anything else, they're pretty much on equal footing. But if you want more games at the moment at a cheaper price, the Vita is cheaper. I think you can get one used for maybe $150, which is half the price of the Switch. Even used Switches go for like $250. So I'd say if you want a cheaper alternative, a more pocketable alternative, go with the Vita. But if you don't mind carrying this around, like I play this almost exclusively in portable mode, unless I'm over at my friend's house and we want to play Mario Kart or something, right? That's something that I like a lot about the Switch. But another thing that you can have on the Vita is remote play. Remote play works phenomenally on the Vita. I'm not going to demonstrate it now because I'm not going to have gameplay, but it works. I played Dark Souls 3 on my Vita with no issues back when I played that game. And I'd say remote play is an underrated feature that nobody talks about, and that's something that is very nice about the Vita. Another thing that's nice about the Vita is cross-play and cross-save. Say if you buy a Vita game or a PS4 game or whatever that just happens to also be a Vita game and that's cross-buy, you can buy it and you'll get it also for the PS4 or for the Vita. You know, whatever. Whichever one you decide to buy it on first. And say for something like, I'll just show you guys a quick game. If I can find which. Say for like Retro City Rampage or something like that. Or Shovel Knight or games like that. You can upload your save to the cloud. You can go on your PS4. You can be like download cross save, and you can just start from there. And it's very nice. It's very convenient. That's something that I like a lot, and something I wish the Switch had. But with the Switch, it doesn't have this like ecosystem of like. There aren't like many games that are 3DS and Switch. I know there's Fire Emblem Warriors and stuff like that, but it's something that's not really, I don't think Nintendo is going to leverage that at any point, which is totally fine if they decide to axe the 3DS and just go Switch exclusively, which I believe they should do, because at the end of the day, it's a portable. Like, all you'd really have to do is port all the games that are on 3DS to Switch and sell them at a lower price. And people will buy them. It's Nintendo. Nintendo fans will buy Nintendo shit, period. It's kind of like Apple. But, you know, it's whatever. As far as that goes, that's pretty much it. Which I prefer. That's kind of a hard decision. The Vita, I keep doing that. The Switch will obviously have more life in it, especially since Sony basically called the Vita a legacy console and said, oh, nah, screw the Vita. You want Gravity Rush 2 on your Vita? What's wrong with you? Get it on the PS4. Like, it's literally what they did. And it's like, the Switch will obviously have more life So I'll have to say I prefer the Switch, but I will never say that the Vita is a bad portable option, because it's definitely not. Especially if you prefer Sony, if you prefer PlayStation, get the Vita. That's something that I would just say I would recommend, period, is just get the Vita if you are a PlayStation fan. But I'm not a fanboy of anything really, so I just have both. And I wanted the Switch because Bayonetta came out on it, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get that. But yeah, this is Sparta. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for the support. Let me know what you guys think of this in the comment section. Do you have a Switch? Do you have a Vita? Do you have both? Let me know how you feel about either or whatever in the comment section below. Be sure to like this video if you like it, dislike it. If you dislike it, share it with people that are interested in this matchup here. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, all that, all that stuff. And yeah, this is Sparta. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for the support yet again. Hope you guys have a wonderful Thursday or whatever time or day it is in your area. Have a good one.